favorite songs.
And everything I'd like to be. Hey, won't you play another somebody done somebody wrong song? Down the lane I walk with my sweet Mary.
Remember, Roger Whittaker's all-new collection is not in stores.
I'll be loving you.
Stay tuned to order.
Always.
To order, call toll-free 1-800-257-1257 to save all COD charges and pay only $12.98 for records or cassettes or $16.98 for compact disc, plus $3 shipping. Use your credit card or send check or money order to Roger Whittaker, P.O. Box 8250, Atlanta, Georgia. Remember, to save all COD charges, send check or money order or use your credit card.
This is CNN.
Taking to the streets, mayors get ready to march in Washington seeking money for urban problems. And mission accomplished. NASA's red, white, and blue crew sets its sights on home. Good day to you, everyone. I'm Mollie McCoy. This is Newsday Saturday. Endeavour's maiden flight is just about over. The space shuttle is scheduled to land in about 5 hours. CNN's Tony Clark joins us with the latest. I think this crew has had just about enough excitement, huh, Tony?
You know, I was thinking, Mollie, right before this mission took off, I think it was Rick Heeb who said once they're in space for a period of time, a week or more, they are eager to come home. And that's kind of the feeling that you get in listening on the NASA communications to the astronauts, that they are eager to come home, satisfied with what they've accomplished, but ready for, as Heeb told us, a hot shower. And you could hear that kind of in the voice of Dan Brandenstein when the crew was awakened this morning.
Morning, Houston.
Morning, Dan.
Time to come home, huh?
It's looking that way. The entry team will update you when they hand over to them.
It is time to come home, and the astronauts are ready in about 4 hours. They will fire their rockets to send them out of orbit and bring them on home. The highlight of this mission, obviously, was the satellite rescue that occurred Wednesday night. It was a fly-by-the-seat-of-the-pants rescue. In fact, the astronauts had to try 3 times before they were able to get the satellite into the payload bay. Twice with the capture attempt with a capture bar failed. And so then some imaginative thinking on the part of the shuttle crew and ground controllers allowed them to simply go out and catch it by hand. That was an important step for NASA, as was the space station construction techniques. The astronauts said that when Kathy Thornton and Tom Akers went out into the shuttle's payload bay to work through some of the satellite space station construction techniques, they discovered a variety of things. Among those things is that it is going to be a lot more difficult to build a space station than originally thought. They say that they have learned a lot from this mission, and once they land on Earth, they will talk about those things that they learned with ground controllers. One thing to watch for in the landing, they will use a drag chute for the first time, so it should be interesting. The landing at Edwards Air Force Base scheduled for around 4:57 Eastern Time today, and of course, CNN will provide the kind of coverage that you expect on all the satellite and NASA missions. I'm Tony Clark in CNN Center. Mollie?
Thanks, Tony. In other news today, big city mayors take to the streets of the nation's capital today to demand that President Bush pay more attention to their problems. The march from Capitol Hill to the White House was planned long before the LA riots. The mayors say the violence merely strengthens their arguments that America's inner cities are seething and need help.
I think it's tragic that it has taken a riot in Los Angeles in order to get the attention of the presidents of the United States. It should be known that we have been trying to have a meeting with the presidents of the United States for 1 solid year. That's the mayors of America. We still welcome the opportunity to meet with them. We would be willing to drop everything to go to the White House or go wherever to explain to him the serious crisis that American cities are facing. This is an emergency situation. If it's right to bail out Russia, then why isn't it right to help the people in the cities of our country?
The mayors are proposing a $35 billion aid package. For more on the city's problems, tune into Newsmaker Saturday. That's at 12:30 Eastern. A community activist in Los Angeles wants to collect bail and legal fees for the suspects charged in the televised beating of a truck driver. 4 men have been charged with beating and robbing Reginald Denny shortly after the verdict in the Rodney King trial. A Los Angeles bail bondsman says those black suspects are not getting the same treatment as the white police officers in the Rodney King beating case.
We cannot allow these 4 brothers to go down there and simply be crucified. There is no question about it. They need competent people to defend them. And one of the things that our community is going to do is to put the dollars on the line and give the support. If there was no beating of Rodney King, right, then there was no beating of Denny.
King says he may face criticism, but says he believes what he is doing is right. Did television news do what was right during the Los Angeles riots? With time now to reflect on the volatile events that followed the Rodney King verdict, media analysts say there was often a fine line between informing and inciting. CNN's Don Knapp has our story.
There have been shots fired.
Vermont near Manchester.
Fires, assaults, looting. For 2 intense days, whatever the action, a television camera was never very far away.
Again, there is no sign of any LAPD officer or officers in this immediate area.
Full-bore, uninterrupted coverage with live pictures from helicopters and ground crews.
They're running back and forth. It looks like another looting operation directly below us. Look at all of the...
Some 24 hours after the riots began, a record 3/4 of Los Angeles area households were watching them on TV.
The crowd is now starting to charge not only Parker Center, but they are starting to break out into fights.
But was it too much? Did the constant flow of images, reports, observations, and opinions make matters worse?
In a story like this, it's so sensitive and so volatile. When you make many mistakes at all, and I'm talking about not only television, but print, you really have potential of flaming the fires.
We kept seeing larger numbers of people congregate at scenes that we'd previously seen in live shots. And so there seemed to be a cause and effect there that people saw it, they were attracted to what was happening for whatever reason, and may have showed up as a result.
I think looting was an enormous story. I think the fact that in many cases police were either not there or watched on passively was an incredible story that had to be reported. I think the part of the story that should not have been reported and was, in some part, were the exact addresses where some of the looting was taking place.
Television is not responsible for the actions of the mob. Television is not responsible for the individuals who chose to loot.
News directors defend their coverage.
We've gotten letters from people who have said that they are grateful that we were on the air telling them what was happening and where it was happening so that they knew to avoid certain areas and that they should probably get home as quickly as possible and stay inside.
In television, with all the live coverage, we really don't have time to reflect, and that's when we really rely on the experience of our reporters in the field to be fair and responsible.
I think they did a wonderful job. By publicizing that on TV, they did go out, and more people did go out and loot.
I think it educated both the criminal element as well as the civilized portion of society that we do not have an effective police force. And that's useful information to have, but it's also frightening information.
Critic Rosenberg said all the Los Angeles television news directors should compare notes and see how they could handle things better in the future. But he added, he's sure they won't. Don Knapp, CNN, Los Angeles.
In a few hours, the attorney for so-called suicide doctor Jack Kevorkian is scheduled to release tapes of a Michigan woman who committed suicide yesterday. The video and audio tapes of Susan Williams reportedly will document her decision to end her life. The 52-year-old woman had been suffering from multiple sclerosis. Attorney Jeffrey Fager says Kevorkian only consulted with Williams and will starve himself if charged with her death. Kevorkian has now been linked with 4 suicides in 2 years and has been indicted for murder. He invented a machine so the hopelessly ill could kill themselves. Still ahead on Newsday Saturday. At about 14 minutes past the hour, we will show you an Israeli raid on a Palestinian village as captured on tape by a CNN crew. Next, the latest twist in a long-running dispute over casino gambling at an Indian reservation in Arizona. And then later at 28 minutes after, a tale of 2 birds and a love that can never be.
Newsday is brought to you by Heil, home heating and cooling systems, dependable year after year after year.
Here I am saying goodbye to another Heil air conditioner. Heil is so dependable, I may never see this guy again. That's sad news for me, but great news for you. Here's more good news from Heil. Call for a free brochure and find out about Heil dependability.